And joining us out of Niagara Falls, Ontario is Mr. Jason Unruhe, independent media personality and political commentator. Hello, sir. Thanks for joining us on the program. And now, why does it seem that civilian deaths in Afghanistan are so easily accepted as a casualty of war by the U.S. government?
Thank you for having me. I believe that the main reason is due to the very nature of the war itself. Despite much of the rhetoric coming out of the United States that this is about the hearts and minds of the Afghan people, we have certainly seen from the actions of the U.S. imperialists that this is certainly not the case. The main goal has been defeating the Taliban, removing the resistance within the country itself for many social and economic gains, which are primarily to the benefit of the United States. This has been a war to capture profits. This has been about opening up access to new markets for U.S. companies, and particularly the vast mineral wealth that still exists within the country. It's estimated upwards of about $3 trillion of untapped minerals remains largely under the Afghan soil. It is not the goal to help the Afghan people. Supposedly, this was done under the pretext of defending America after the events of September 11th, 2001. But since it's not really the goal, it's not manifested itself in a way where concern for the Afghani people is really taken into consideration. At times like this, we're reminded of the beasts that imperialism turns men into that Che Guevara spoke about so long ago. The goal is not the people, and the actions of the soldiers and the militaries responsible for the attacks reflect the policies and the goals that have been put forward by the people that they take orders from.
I mean, Jason, it's funny you say that. It is a very suspicious invasion. After 16 years, Taliban is stronger than ever. They control multiple provinces. They have, narco-terrorism and opium cultivation is at a record high, and there's an emergence of ISIL on Afghan soil. This is with the presence of the U.S. and its allies on the soil. Now we're saying going on 15 or 16 years. To echo what you're saying, it is very suspicious.
Yes, illegal drug production has been a direct result of the U.S. invasion. Opium production in the country has reached world record heights. Estimates put somewhere of 97% of the world's opium is produced in Afghanistan right now, largely by the Taliban. And it is what's been funded the Taliban's resistance against the United States. Many of the poor farmers in the rural areas of Afghanistan frequently resort to growing opium for the Taliban because of the economic catastrophe that has been the invasion and not much of a subsequent recovery. For many of the Afghan farmers, this is a question of whether or not they're going to eat. So they obviously have to respond to their immediate rational economic interests. And if they want to survive, they're going to have to do things along the lines of the Taliban. What is the most profitable? And that's what has been created as a result of this war. Because of this, necessity, many have suspected the Afghan government turns much of a blind eye to this cultivation. One, because it's suspected that many of the government officials are corrupt, and many others recognize the necessity of these farmers. They're going to starve if they don't have it.
Thanks.
And many have accused this. Many have accused the CIA of operating opium fields as well. It's not unusual for the U.S. government to be involved in illegal drug trafficking. In the 1980s, they were heavily involved in the trafficking of cocaine, and the funds were used to fund the Contra War in Nicaragua during the Reagan administration. Just in September 2007 alone, in October, it was alleged that a Gulfstream II jet belonging to the Drug Enforcement Agency crashed in Mexico.
We're about a minute past our allotted time. I'm sorry. I know you're in the middle of a thought there. We'll get back to you later in a future date. Thank you, Jason Unruhe, for your contribution, joining us out of Niagara Falls, Ontario, independent media personality and political commentator.